we're going to need a lot of help this week. That's why we brought you in here, so set us straight. Who should we definitely start this week at quarterback? Options could be thin.
Very thin, especially with the injuries and, as you mentioned, the bye weeks. I like Brock Purdy, though, this week. I told you to sit him last week. He had a bad game against the Browns, maybe the worst game of his career from a fantasy perspective. But I really like the matchup this week against the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense has allowed 19-plus fantasy points to 3 quarterbacks since week 2. So this is a good spot for Brock Purdy. And I also like Jordan Love. And I know he had a terrible game before the bye against Las Vegas Raiders. I totally get it. But this is the Broncos here. They've allowed 4 quarterbacks to score 17-plus points, including 3 who've scored over 20. With 6 teams on a bye and quarterbacks going down with injuries, Jordan Love is a top 12 play this week.
Ooh, I hope you're right about Jordan Love because I have to start him in my only league where I'm 6-0. So fingers crossed. Okay,
Ooh,
if I have the luxury, who am I not starting a quarterback this week?
I don't like what I saw from Kirk Cousins last week in his first game without Justin Jefferson. It was gross. Single-digit points. And now, Jen, he gets the Niners, who are going to be good and salty after getting beaten by Cleveland last week. So Kirk Cousins goes from a guy that you could start with relative confidence to now someone who needs to be on your bench, even with 6 teams off. And I'm going to stick with the Jared Goff on the road sit-him narrative. I get it. He was really good last week. I give him all the credit in the world. But now he's got to do it in Baltimore. So that's going to be a bit of a tough task for Jared Goff. Keep in mind, the Ravens defense hasn't allowed a quarterback to score more than 15.4 points against them this year. So as good as Goff was last week, and I know a lot of people are going to have to start him, I would temper expectations in this one. Could be a lower scoring game.